Hi guys, and welcome back to Geneva Diaries. Today is Thursday, and Thursday is time to get inspired. I am your host Julia, and before you go any further, please subscribe to our channel. As today we are bringing you a very fantastic story. And y'all, when I'm not doing a live interview, I love to take time to converse with you through stories and just to give us stories of some of the most prominent people that we really know about their success and not necessarily the journey. So here's a story of a high school dropout who most people attribute his success to luck or to genius, sometimes to good fortune or whatever they want to say was the source of his success. But a lot of people really do not know how he actually founded one of the famous vehicle in the country, in the world, and that is the story of Henry Ford. Now, y'all, Henry Ford was born in Detroit, and at the age of 16 he already left for another city to try and seek for greener pastures. As you can see, he was born in a very poor background, to say. They didn't have much, and he was the only surviving child of his parents. So he went to look for greener pastures and then came back home and decided to settle on their farm because probably he didn't get much to do, or he didn't just get impressed by what he found when he left for Dearborn. So he comes back and gets married to his beautiful wife Clara, and then they have their first child, and he decides to go back to Dearborn to try and look for a job. So this time round he gets a job, and before that, just to take you a little bit back, he used to run a sawmill to sustain his family. So at this time round he went back and he got a job as a machinist, and he was now working on do all of this manual work and stuff. And at one point he actually worked with Edison, who is also a very famous person, and I want to tell you how that really positioned him for today's success. But now we see this man was full of dreams, full of ambition, and he did not have the opportunity. So contrary to what most people will do is basically to resign to fate and say, okay, so I'm gonna wait for an opportunity where I can actually make all of this money, and when everything else is really set, I do have the capital and everything, I'll pursue my dream. But that's not what happens in the story of Henry Ford. He actually built the first horseless car, and this is something that he wanted to do. He wanted to create a horseless carrier, but he did not have the capital, he did not have any money, he did not have any opportunity, no mentors around, no godfathers as we call them in Kenya, and he just decided to use what he has. And I like the way Napoleon Hill puts it. Henry said, I will start where I am, use what I can, and at the end of it all, I have to make sure that I have what it takes to, pursue my dream. So he builds this horseless carrier, and it attracts attention, and then he decides to sell it because that was not his dream. He was aiming for something bigger. So he sells this first one and decides to also try and build something else. So with the money that he got, he actually built the first model of Ford, which interestingly was considered the ugliest vehicle. So wait a minute, this is the interesting part. When he sold that horseless carrier, he actually attracted some people who actually saw potential in him, and they're like, okay, we want to put in some cash and help you bring this to reality. So these people invest, and then Henry shows them what he wants to make, and it's like the T Ford, and they're like, no, this is so angry, you need to change this will not make any sense. But here's what stands out with Henry Ford. He is very quick when it comes to making decisions, and very certain about his decision, and this is a very key thing that we see, which was very consistent with him in his success journey. So despite all of this pressure of people saying, if you don't change this, we're gonna withdraw, I was like, okay, if you don't like it, it's fine. I am very certain about what I'm doing. This is what I have dreamt about. I have actually planned, and I know that this can work. So if you can see it, that's okay, but I'm gonna go ahead and produce this car, and if it's the ugliest, that's fine. I just want to see what happens if I produce it. So he goes ahead and makes this T model of Ford, and trust you me, the sales were so massive. In fact, at some point they got like orders that were exceeding the what the company could produce, and they had to like move and get a bigger space. So that goes on, and then Henry was somebody who was like a really great thinker. He used to think critically, and his situation was the last thing on his mind. He didn't care about opportunities readily available, resources, or anything like that. He was like, if I can dream about it, then I'm gonna stand for myself and back up my dream. And it doesn't matter who is not seeing what I'm trying to do. So here's another interesting thing that Henry does, and it's a path-breaking excellence in the motor vehicle industry to date. So at this point, Henry has like a group of engineers working with him, and he comes up with a very interesting idea. So he has like 8 cylinders, puts them in one block. So this is like something that he thought he could do. Puts these 8 cylinders in one block and then put them into one engine. So technically he was trying to make the V8 engine. And then he tells his engineers, I need you to make a car with these V8 engines. And so they're like, that's impossible. And he tells them, it's okay, you have to get it done. I don't care. You try it. So they do it, first 6 months, no success. And they're like, Henry Ford, this is not working for us. We've tried to figure out. And he's like, you are not going to do anything else but try to think of a way of making it work. So trust you me, they did this for like 1 year, and after a year some sort of magic happened. It actually worked, and the world today is embracing the powerful V8 engine. Y'all, what does the power of persistence and certainty do? How far can it take you? We're seeing Henry Ford really breaking the barriers, breaking the ceilings, and getting things done. Yeah, so remember I mentioned to you the story of Edison, who Henry Ford once worked with, and I like what what Henry Ford did. This is a man who dropped out of school. He did not even go to high school, but look at the kind of circle he was working with. While working with Edison, he used to make sure that he learns from him. He tried to live up to his expectations and standards, in the sense that when he is given work to do, he would do it perfectly, and he used to learn a lot from Edison. I think this really placed him on a forward trajectory, contrary to all those people who've gone to school but they really do not use their social networks wisely. So while with Edison, he did not forget his dream. Instead, this gave him momentum, because he used to learn from the mistakes that were being made, from the good things. He used to pick a lot of lessons from Edison. And one thing that I also want to mention is, this all process looks like it took like 5 years or something, but the success of the hard work and the struggle of Henry Ford actually started paying off properly at the age of 40. So between 16 and 40, there were lots and lots of challenges that he was going through, from other investors withdrawing from him, handling multiple court cases, from having to change his company name just because some people decided to withdraw. And for most people, it would have been easy to give up at that point and say that, okay, this is not working out. If people are withdrawing, I do not have capital, I do not have anything to go. But Henry Ford had a mind of his own. So if he believes he can do something, if he thinks he can accomplish something, then he also has the will to control whatever it is he wants to accomplish. And that is how he simply built one of the largest motor vehicle and manufacturing companies, and it is still operational and up to date. So ladies and gentlemen, I don't know what you are waiting for, because if Henry Ford could use whatever he heard, build a multi-billion motor vehicle business with no capital, with no backup in terms of rich family or anything like that, right from scratch, then you and I can use the tools that we have to build whatever it is we want to build. The secret is be very certain and quick to make decisions, but slow to change things, such that if somebody tells you this is not working, you are not quick to try and change and say, okay, if that's not working, let me try and embrace what you're trying to say. But be very decisive, be persistent, have a dream, and be there to back up your dream, because nobody's going to do it for you. If anything, you're going to meet people along the way who are going to tell you that what you're trying to accomplish is not possible, or they are going to give you many reasons as to why you need to change this, you need to stop this, and not reasons why you need to push forward. Lastly, it's important to watch who you spend your time with. Who are your social circle of friends? Who do you hang out with? The power of the masterminds, as Napoleon Hill puts it, is very important. Surround yourself with the right people. And if you do not have this kind of people yet, it's okay. I'm pretty sure you have someone you're looking up to. If you read the book Think and Grow Rich, you can actually learn how to bring them to your circle right from your mind. It's all about tuning your mind and knowing how to really manage all of these challenges you're going through to be able to achieve your dreams and to build whatever it is you want to build. I have been your host, Julie Tolosh, and this is Inspired by Dajni Diaries. Do let me know what you have learned in today's video and what is your biggest takeaway from Henry Ford's story. Otherwise, see you in our next video.